Hey, I'm Birdman.
I'm Bruce.
Time to get on target at
The Hub. Here we are.
This will be a fun one because we've got a large firearm versus.
Yes, we do have a large firearm.
We've done. I don't think we've done many rifles.
No, we've done it. I think a long time ago, just some shotguns and.
Yeah, and then we did the takedown one, I think. And yeah.
So yeah, it's time for this because there's a big.
And of course, this is previously recorded. So
yes.
I'm touching a gun, but
yes, new effort for new. They have new models out on lever action. So of course, this is lever action. Let's talk about it real quick.
Okay.
And I'll just kind of hold up a little bit to get an idea what it is. This is a Henry, and everybody knows about Henry Firearms.
Oh yeah.
Hopefully, it's a great company, good president, everything made in the United States. This particular model is called a Big Boy All Weather. So you remember you and I talked before about some of these, and I was one of the stainless one kind of, or something that's coated for rust.
Right.
And I was always going to try to work on the wood on it.
Yeah.
In fact, actually, I did one about 10 years ago. It happened to be a Marlin. It wasn't this one. What?
That was a cord.
Yeah, just a cord. Anyway, so getting back to that, this hardwood has been treated with it's almost like a flooring material.
Right.
And inside and outside of it, so it won't absorb water.
Wow.
And they're all weathers. I'm probably going to make a mistake, but it's a form of hard chrome. And there's a lot of hard chroming. I know Remington does it on their marine stainless shotgun.
Okay.
For saltwater. It also gives you some lubrication a little bit on the moving parts. I'll give you an example of hard chroming. A good tool you might use in your shop, those are chrome plated, but they don't flake off.
Right.
It's a very, very, very tough. So let's talk about this because before, this is a 357.
Okay.
And we've talked about 357s, how much we like them. And before we do that, it wouldn't be right to not talk a little bit about 357. So they'll get a sheet of this, and we can make a copy of that for them, so they can look right now.
Right.
Okay, so they're looking at it. They can always lock onto that if they want.
Sure.
Later on. There's a company we've talked about because everybody has discussions about ammo and power and all these things. So for today, there's a company called Ballistic by the Inch. It's a website.
Okay.
And it's on that piece of paper right there. ballisticbytheinch.com. And what they do is they have different calibers and they cut barrels off and they give you performance levels at different levels. And the reason we bring it up on a 357 because there's two calibers that stand out as being very sensitive to barrel length.
Okay.
And one is 357 and the other one is 22 Magnum.
Huh.
So when you get in arguments on people, let's take 22 Magnum for example, about pistols versus rifles. And they'll think that the pistol will go 2,000 feet per second when they'll only go 1,200 feet per second. And that's because that fireball, it's looking for barrel length. It's designed for barrel. And same with 357. So if we look here, I did an example of a 2-inch up to a 20-inch. This is a 20-inch, this carbine. The 2-inch barrel and the snub nose for these particular bullets, which are Federal Hydra-Shok 130s.
Okay.
They're running around 920 feet per second at 244 foot-pounds on that paper. 4-inch barrel will give you 1,450 feet per second.
Right.
With 600 foot-pounds. A 6-inch barrel will give you 1,600 feet per second at 739, and a 20-inch barrel roughly 2,000 feet per second at 1,273. So look at the difference. That's one of the reasons why when we talk about snub-nose 327s, we talk about heavier bullets.
Right.
Now, this company doesn't have a lot of some of the new heavier stuff that we like. That's why we like those 180 hard cast bullets for a snub nose because they're going close to 1,000 feet per second and they're so heavy they get more energy that way since they're not getting barrel length. So bringing that to this, why is that important with this gun? Because this gun doesn't perform like a 357. It performs like a rifle.
Right.
It's got power to hunt, close range deer, as you notice when you get up to 2,000 feet per second and 1,200 foot-pounds. And there's other rounds you get even more, but this is just an example that they use. So go to that when you want to learn a little bit about power factors, when everybody rounds things off. Well, my 22 mag will get, or my 357 gets me 1,400 feet per second. That's not on the snub nose.
Right.
So we go a little heavier bullet for that. So let's do a quick shoot of this.
Okay, let's take a look at that.
Okay, so reasonable.
Yep.
Nice gun. And that's the first time I've shot this. Excellent gun. And we'd probably be amiss if we don't discuss the difference between this and a Winchester a little bit.
Okay.
And that's how we have to load this. Now, that's one of the detriments. People say, well, they want to be able to load it from a side gate.
Right.
And I guess one of the arguments, and I guess I'd understand it if this was a 3-gun or something like that.
Right.
Or maybe some of the Westerns you see, where they're running and they're loading at the same time. This particular one holds 10, so getting back to the specifications on it. It's got a 20-inch barrel and it holds 10 in the tube. But in order to load this, you'll load this like a tube-fed, I guess I'm going to have to say 22.
You have to start
and if we look like this, yes, it's got a little place here and it opens, it's O-ring.
So if you can see that, you might
and then
need
you
to
drop
move
them,
back
if I
that
drop like
way.
this,
Yeah,
and,
move back that way.
and they drop in this little hole by your hand here.
Let's go over here. Oh,
Right here?
Yep. So
Now-
you drop them in here.
Yes, and then when you're done, and it's got a spring inside there, you push it all the way down.
Okay. So shove down in there.
Yeah, like
And
that.
then this
And when you do it,
goes
it's got a
back
little,
in.
it's got a little pressure with an O-ring. It locks in there.
Cool.
That's it. Now, the advantage to me of this over the other one, and I grew up with not this, of course, lever action, but older Winchester lever actions. And the problem is when you went to unload them, you had to rack them out of the.
Right.
And in those days, we didn't like to waste a lot of ammo. Some people had one shot a year. And so when you take them in and out all the time, they get pretty much beat up. They were mostly soft points, and they would get beat up on the end.
Right.
So dropping this to unload, taking that tube out and dropping them in your hand without damaging the ammo is kind of a nice feature. You got to weigh that against loading it on the run.
Right.
Which of course I never have.
Yeah.
So let's get into the score of this.
Okay.
And they make this in. If I'm going to make a mistake now, they make it in a 30-30. They make it in a 44 mag, which we'll test, and then they make it in 45-70.
Okay.
I believe. Okay. So Henry All-Weather. Let's give us some scores. A category representation, 10. There's nothing quite like this.
Right. They sort of own the category.
They kind of own the category. Manufacturing history is a 10 because Henry is, how they are with
Right.
helping people, especially first line of defense people,
Yes.
police officers. Intuitive safe handling, that's a lever action. Now they don't have external safeties, but they do have a lock on this, so without the trigger pulled, if it was dropped, it wouldn't go off.
Right.
Everybody has their own name of what they want to call that. So it's got safe handling of 10. Carry options, it's hard to not give this a 10 because rifles you can't put in different types of holsters anyway.
right.
And this does come with the slings. Already.
Oh, okay, cool.
Now, there are some guns out there that don't have one. I've had them before, and they're really a pain to try to figure out how to sling.
Right here.
And then you could also put it in a sheath type bandolier kind of a thing.
Yep.
Then people use that for shotguns and something like this. Function, of course, we only shot it 10 times. Now, it was interesting. We were shooting, those were actually plus P 38s. And a lot of times some of these guns, not the Henrys that I've ever found out, but some of the replica or the ones that are made to look like the old Western guns,
Right.
may have a problem with 38s in a 357, or they'll have a problem maybe with a 44 special and a 44 mag.
Right.
Because the others are a longer cartridge. So the most important thing with this, and the same with pump shotguns, is a full stroke. You don't go sideways real slow. It's a racking motion.
Right.
If you have to take it down because you're not used to it, then you take it down straight and rack it that way, and it'll be perfect. But it's got to have some authority to it.
Oomph.
You're not hurting
Some
it
oomph.
like the way to
You
do
gotta
that.
put some oomph
So
behind
the
it.
function's a 10. The feel is unbelievable. It's a 10. In fact, you can actually feel what I'm talking about with the lubricant type finish. Now the cost, there's an asterisk on it. It's a $1,090 retail. I think they're running around $900 on the street.
Okay.
Now, that's a lot of money, but we have to look at what else is out there like this.
A lot of
If you look at Winchesters, now they're not made over here anymore. They're made in Japan.
Okay.
And they run $1,200 to $1,800, depends on what model you get. This is an American-made gun, and it's got these special features that nobody else really has. So, and then I think Chiappa makes one that's got this kind of a hardened chrome finish over it, and I think that one is about $1,300. So it's very competitive, even though it is expensive.
Right.
Excuse me. Shootability, a 10. Of course, it just works. I've never had a problem with lever actions as long as they keep them fairly clean.
Right.
So overall, we're going to give it an A. In the future, I think what we'd like to do is we have some. We have a chronograph that will work underneath the lights we have. I've
Right,
had it, we've
right,
never used it
right.
yet. And I want to set up some tests with this, with the heavier rounds, with a handgun.
And
because
then-
now people are thinking about a 357 handgun.
We also promised a long time ago to do it with 9mm, so maybe we'll do that.
Yes, we'll do the chronograph and we'll do some different loads.
Awesome.
Specifically, one of the new reasons why these are getting popular is people like 357 revolvers.
You got it.
And this is the same caliber. Now it goes all the way back to the old Western days where people would carry a 45 Colt in both their revolver and their rifle, or a 4440 revolver and a 4440 rifle.
Easier
so
to
it's got a
carry
long
ammo that
history,
way.
and it could be used for category, home and woods defense. When you get this kind of speed with no recoil, it's easy to operate, and there's no scope, of course. They are tapped, but some of us around here, some of the guys that are over 20, we don't like the look of scopes on our levers, but they do it for people to make it more accurate. So,
There you go.
so other than that, it's just been fun. I like combo guns, and I know you like 357s. And didn't you mention somebody else might want one of these?
Somebody else might.
You might know. Okay.
You never know, and I wouldn't get in trouble for getting it for her. So, anyways, hey, make sure you're checking out thehubaz.com, the Facebook page, Instagram as well.
And we didn't
another
forget
thing?
about one other thing. We didn't
Okay.
forget about the revolutionary training device. It's still coming.
Still coming.
We're going to probably have it next week.
He said that a couple weeks ago.
No, that was last week, I think.
Very cool.
Anyway,
Hey, I'm Birdman.
I'm Bruce, and be safe.